Greetings. I was tagged by Kristin Gehm to do my What is your go-to look? So that's what I'll be doing right now, the What is your go-to look tag. The idea behind this tag is when you wake up and you have no clue what to do, what do you go to before you run out the door? It is different from, say, the minimal makeup tag where you're just like, I don't feel like wearing makeup today. What would I put on to run out the door? This is more like, okay, I've got to go to work. I've got to do something. What would I pick? The very first thing that concerns me is skincare. If I can't get my skincare right, then the makeup's not going to sit well at all. So I have to kind of gauge the weather. Is it dry outside? Is it cold outside? Is there some moisture? Is it sunny? Because that's what my skin reacts to. Based on that, I make my choices about my nighttime and daytime skin routine. So that's the first thing. I watch the weather, and the weather determines what I'll do. The second thing is sunscreen. Will I have a foundation that has sunscreen in it? Is it enough sunscreen? And then depending on the answer to that will depend on whether I use the product like Suntegrity or whether I'll let one of the foundations that I'm trying to get through do the work of the sunscreen for the day. More than anything, what determines what I wear these days is my shadow of the week and my Makeup 2013. I am trying to make my way through product, especially toxic product. I am alternating natural one week, toxic product the next week. I'm doing that with foundations and concealers. I am doing that with color. This week, for example, was a toxic week, so I was really trying to use some of my toxic foundations, some of my toxic concealers, some of my toxic shadows. That's what I've been up to. Once I have the skincare all done, I do move on to primers. Now, if I use Integrity, that is the primer. I really don't have to worry about anything else. Otherwise, I just dig into my toxic supply of primers, still have quite a few of those, and get to work, followed by whatever foundation I am trying to get through. Same with concealer. I do tend to contour every day, and I have a variety of products for that. One thing I do is I separate my foundation, concealers, and makeup in 3 different categories. One category is a pink toned, one category is the olive toned, and the third category is the yellow toned. And depending on what I'm going with in terms of foundation, I will change, for example, the contour product that I use. So if it's a pink, I'm more apt to go with one of the mauve-y, kind of brown, purple, plummy. Dare I say it? Maybe even taupey. Yeah, I'll get that right eventually. But at any rate, those are the ones that don't have a kind of yellow or orange cast to them. If I'm using something like a yellow foundation and I know I'm going to be using peaches or oranges or bronzy kinds of tones, then I'll go with something like the Terra Moisturizing Bronzer. So I kind of switch those out just depending what I am using. So that's a decision I make. After that, I head into my shadow of the week and I start playing with eyeshadows. I generally pick 2 cream shadows that I put on as a base. I follow that with normally, I don't know, a light, a medium, and a dark shade. A go-to look is light shade on the lid, medium shade in the crease, and the dark shade on the outside. A go-to look is to tightline. I generally use the Tarte Emphasize liners for that, the old ones, because they were actually cleaner than the new ones. I have that in brown, I have it in navy, I have it in black. I also have it in gray, but I don't use the gray one to tightline because it looks really silly on me. In terms of cheeks, I have been putting on a cream product followed by a powder. And the application is probably more consistent than the product I actually use. So it's like a stipple brush to put the cream on, a fan brush to put the pigment on, and then a brush to blend it out with, usually a flat-topped brush. I am trying to show love to my lip glosses, so I grab those. Oh yes, brows. I do put on brows, and again, I just grab my toxic products. If it's a natural week, I am using my 100% pure eyeshadows. I need to replace that natural option. I'd like to look for a pencil, I think, although 100% pure also has brow pigments that I might use. I'm still kind of looking around for my natural brow replacement product. There are a few places where I do have go-to products. I always use 100% pure mascara in black tea. That's one I've gotten figured out to set my makeup. I'm using the Youthful Trends Caffeinated Makeup Primer. That's a standard. To highlight a lip, I have a couple of products, but I usually pull out Pumpkin and Poppy's Roxy, that's what I have on highlighting the lip today. That's a favorite. No matter what eye look I do, I pull out my bag full of Fusion of Color highlighters. There is one called Awake. It is a purpley pink shade. There's one that is a yellow-green shade, goes great with my olives. There are two yellow-based. One is called Light Yellow, one is called Bright Eyes. I think both the light yellow and the yellow-green I've mixed with a foundation to make them just a bit lighter. They were a little too intense for me, but those are a standard and I use those. That's my go-to look. It really, really depends on my skincare. It depends on my sunscreen. It depends on my shadow of the week. And it depends on whether or not I'm in a natural week or a toxic week. Once I make those decisions and then make a decision about, is it pink foundation? Is it yellow foundation? Is it olive foundation? Once those decisions are made, the rest just kind of falls in place. And I don't think a whole lot about it, believe it or not. If I'm in the mood to play, I play. If I'm not, I can go through it fairly mindlessly. So it's not particularly taxing to me. The other thing I will say is that I'm rarely rushed to get dressed in the morning. That is in part because I'm so blasted menopausal that I wake up freakishly early. So I have lots of time to kind of wash my face and then drink my coffee, put on a serum, I do some work, I let things settle in, I do another layer, I let that settle in. I just, kind of float in and out and do a little here, a little there, and it never seems taxing to me at all. It seems quite pleasurable and unhurried. I don't know, if you wake up at 4, you can still get out of the house by 8 if you need to, and you've had 4 hours to figure it all out. So thank you, menopause. I actually don't mind it. The house is really, really quiet in the morning. Even the pets are sleeping, and so it's just me kind of puttering, puttering, puttering. And the people in England are all awake, so I can talk with them, or the people in other parts of the world. So that is my go-to look. Thank you to the incomparable Miss Kristin Gehm. I will link her channel below, but I'm sure you already all know it. I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed thinking about it. I would like to have some more go-to products. I would love to have those all natural, particularly brows, foundations, concealers. I don't particularly enjoy buying those all that much, so it would be great to just have a kind of tried and true ready stockpile where I would say, okay, if it's winter and the weather is like this, I use this one. If it's spring or fall and the weather is like this, I use this one. And if it's summer and the weather is like this, I use this one. That's my goal. That's where I am moving towards or to, and I'm getting there. As always, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you're up to. Make it a great, great day. I've got a bunch of teaching ahead of me, so I need to get going. But it's 50 degrees and sunny, and I'm going to ride my bike into campus and get a little exercise on the way into work. Bye.